Okay, we got Anomalous, Direhorn, 2 Beast Pets, that's annoying. I think I'll start with Roggy. Then go for probably... Is there any point in going for Mudslide? Kind of. If he goes for Toxic Fumes, I could change the weather instantly. Alright. Let's go for an Ooze Touch. Oh, he has Void Nova. I should have went for Sandstorm. Well, I kind of should have went for Sandstorm. It's also kind of good that I didn't, because he would have survived for an extra turn if I used Sandstorm the turn before, because I don't think Ooze Touch would have killed him because of Sandstorm damage mitigation. So he's going to go for Call Winter, and then he's going to stun me. Well, I mean, he can't stun Roggy. Oh, and he missed. Okay, let's go for some Ooze Touches. Need to get him down below 594, and then Drill Charge can kill him. He's going for strong damage. Oh, I almost can kill him with Ooze Touch. That sucks. Alright. Well, he's going to stun me, so I guess the best option is bring in Dibbler and go for Drill Charge. There is the 5% chance I just crit and win. No crit, unfortunately. Well, let's bring in Itch Bite. It's going to take my Mechanical Racial. But I'll take Buttercup here. Then he's going to Primal Cry. Maybe 482, 594. Maybe the best bet is just go for Call Darkness here. Then I'll Roar of the Dead on my Undead round. And as long as I land the Drill Charge, he should die. Doesn't matter if I land the Sticky Web or not, but if I can land Roar of the Dead... Oh, he wasted his interrupt. And he wasted his Trihorn charge. What? He threw it away. Now it's all in RNG's hands. Because, like, if he had his priority move's going to go first. Because he's faster than me. And it's the same speed buff. I guess the interrupt doesn't matter because I'm going to go first here. But, yeah, as long as I land this, he's dead. Oh, the suspense. Not even close. But how to beat that team consistently? Okay. That's going to take me a minute. Obviously, having mechanical damage is helpful, but having a mechanical isn't necessarily a great plan because of the deep freeze. And he's a really fast beast too, so maybe... Don't think that's a good idea. Kunchang's not going to be very good versus beasts with that build. This is a similar team. I don't think it'll do any better. And that team obviously just barely won. Only because he threw. So this team has a lot of mechanical damage. Is it good versus anomalous? It's not amazing. I think this team can win, but I'm sure I can come up with a better strategy. Mr. Delver and Alpine Foxing are decent versus anomalous. Mr. Delver is good versus the... Realistically, if I want a good chance with this team, I just need to run Missile, and I've been considering changing that move for a while anyways. The Direhorn is very RNG, so even if I come up with like a perfect counter on paper, he could just win with RNG. So it might not really be worth my time to come up with a perfect counter, per se. Also, I don't think I've ever seen that guy play that same team like 2 games back to back. So I'll probably get something else anyways. But if I were to try to hard counter it, because let's say I was spam queuing into it. We have, so Anomalous running Void Nova. So Sandstorm should pretty much hard counter Anomalous. I'm thinking maybe... I might need to pick one of these teams to have the best bet. Okay, let's see here. So... I think Jingles is a speed tie with... Nope, Buttercup is faster. Yeah, that's probably not going to work. Yeah, maybe these teams actually wouldn't do very well. It's a very meta team. So Anomalous and the Direhorn are a lot of AoE damage. So and then plus not Call Blizzard, but whatever ability, Call of Winter. So Call of Winter with Primal Cry and Void Nova and Poison Protocol is a ton of AoE damage. So I'm thinking double or triple Sandstorm's your best bet versus that team. This team might actually do okay. So you have the Blazehound is good versus Anomalous. You have Sticky Surge to kind of counteract the Primal Cry so that he can't be interrupting me. Sun Gold Cobra is slower than the Beast though, so or than this Beast. It's definitely not the best team. Endmite is gonna struggle versus all that Beast damage. I'm a little stumped. What have I seen so far that looked like it had the best chance? I think it was this team. Because the Alarmo Dog's going to be pretty darn good versus... It's just RNG, though. Like, if he lands a horn attack and interrupts me, it puts me very far behind. Maybe... Maybe this team? He does not have a way to deal with Ice Tube on his team. Yeah, he doesn't have a way to deal with Ice Tomb, so that can cause him some troubles. Zoomies is pretty good because I can outspeed him so I don't have to deal with Horn Attack RNG. Got a lot of mechanical damage, like a lot of mechanical damage. I think this is a good choice. I don't know if it's like a guaranteed win or anything, but if I were to rematch that same team, I think this team at least has a decent chance of beating him. I think Mr. Delver with Missile is one of the better pets versus his team because if he doesn't juke with Anomalous, I can swap him out. Build Turret does strong damage versus his beasts. And I don't have to worry about being slower since I have missiles. The Snapdragon isn't fantastic versus his team, but he does hit hard with Call Lightning. He also takes weak damage from Poison Protocol, but he's low HP, so it's not that impactful. Maybe a team with the Void Scarred and Nubisath, because I feel like you want Sandstorm versus him, because like 4 out of his 9 attacks are AoE. He has Call of Winter, he has Primal Cry, he has Void Nova, and he has Poison Protocol. So you need to be able to shut down that. You need to either be able to shut down the AoE pressure or out damage it with like strong damage. Like the strategy here is I just have lots of mechanical damage since he has 2 beasts. And Mr. Delver happens to be pretty good versus Anomalous. I think an Elemental with Sandstorm, like the Living Sandling or Trembler, or even maybe the Primal Stormling, would be a decent pick because I won't be chilled by his blizzard, by his weather. So he doesn't have a 100% chance to stun my elemental with deep freeze. And then of course Sandstorm shuts down half of his, not shuts down, but you know, does well versus all that AoE damage. Which one's the best? I mean, I just think the Living Sandling is the best elemental with Sandstorm, but Trembler is really OP too. I'd probably pick the Living Sandling though as my best bet. So if I just looked up a team with the Living Sandling, I'm feeling like maybe the Living Sandling or the Shore Butterfly, which I don't see a team that has that. I guess this here, right? But I don't really play that. Living Sandling with the Shore Butterfly might be okay because Shore Butterfly's gonna take weak damage from all the primal, all the stunned Direhorn's attacks. Obviously, it's not good versus Anomalous, but if I just knowing that he has Void Nova makes my life a lot easier because I could just say start with the Living Sandling and just press Sandstorm round 1. And then take out Anomalous if he stays out with just a quick sand and a punch. And then shore butterfly and probably some sort of a pet with mechanical attacks is probably your best bet. So maybe like maybe Dibbler, Shore Butterfly, and the Living Sandling. Just because Dibbler has Drill Charge. Drill Charge gives him a lot of trouble. Maybe a flyer with Wing Buffet, so either the Fell-Afflicted Skyfin or the Foul-Winged Buzzer. I do think this team has a chance to beat him because the way it would start is I would start with the Fell-Afflicted Skyfin and swap out Anomalous. That'll bring in... Actually, no, I'd probably dot him first round and then swap him out. So if he doesn't juke, he has Felt Immolate on him. I swap him out and he just about dies on the back line to the dot. It'll bring in the Beast. He's going to go for Call of Winter, and once that Call of Winter's up, I think Anomalous actually dies to Fell Immolate because it'll be buffed by his weather. So I can dot up both his Buttercup and Anomalous while swapping Anomalous to the back line. And then he kind of has to use... Yeah, I feel like this team would actually give him a lot of trouble. I'll play this team next. Either one of these teams, I think in a weird way, Snarly might be a little better than the Snapdragon because what I care more about than having a Call Lightning to, like, say, one-shot the Direhorn is just being able to go first so I don't have to deal with him being able to one-shot me. Yeah, so if I were to play this team, I'd start with the Skyfin, Fell Immolate Anomalous, Wing Buffet him, which brings in the lowest health pet. And the lowest health pet's going to be Buttercup. Fell Immolate Buttercup, and then go for a Wild Magic. And I probably have lost... I might still have my magic ratio, or my flying ratio at that point, so I could have Fell Immolate and Wild Magic on Buttercup. So even if I get stunned on my Fell-Afflicted Skyfin, now his stun is on cooldown. If he doesn't go for the stun, he only has weak damage versus me because I'm a flyer. There's a couple different ways it could go because he might just bring in Anomalous again, but if he does, it's probably going to end badly for him because I'll just be spamming Felt Immolates and burn him down before he probably even takes my flying ratio, I'm guessing. At the very least, I will take out Anomalous before he kills my Skyfin. And then I feel like Alarmo Dog, Snarly should easily 1v2 the Direhorn at that point because the Skyfin more or less 1v2s Buttercup and Anomalous. Even if I get really bad RNG and he like crits a whole bunch and lands every single stun on my Alarmo Dog, I don't even have to worry about getting stunned with getting interrupted on Snarly because I'll be spamming Surge. I do think that's probably one of my better teams versus that particular team if I get a rematch. But like I said, that guy doesn't tend to queue the same team multiple times in a row, or at least that particular team. gonna start with Arphis. He does have a green pet, but it's still very dangerous because Cobbleshell is one of the best pets for PvP, and he has HH. The rest of his team isn't too scary looking. Annoyingly, he has two 325 speed pets, but it's not an issue at this particular matchup. I'm gonna go for Ice Tomb. He could extra plating or just bring in Cobbleshell to take weak damage from it, but if he brings in Cobbleshell, I can hit him hard with Sumis here. Got my speed buff now, so I'm faster than all of his team. I think I want to save Arphis for later, because he actually might be pretty decent versus Cobbleshell. I'm going to bring in Mr. Delver. He's going to go for extra plating, but he'll still be stunned. So I'll go for a build turret, and then since he has extra plating up, I think I'll just swap him out. Oh, we brought in Cobbleshell. Okay. Well, I'm definitely swapping out Cobbleshell. Because he's going to do a ton of damage with Rock Barrage and possibly Stone Rush. Okay. I'm gonna go for Missile. Yeah, I figured he was likely to go for the heal. So I want to at least take out his mechanical racial before he gets that heal off. And because he's faster than me, I'm pretty sure the heal goes off before I hit him. So I may as well go for build turret now, because he's going to be almost full HP. But okay, he's bringing in Cobbleshell. I'm going to go for Call Lightning, buff my turrets. It'll be a bit of a double-edged sword, because he has a bunch of dots, and he probably has Toxic Smoke. Oh, he has Ooze Touch. Okay. Well, do I go for Water Jet? 296 plus 29 is not 372. But I feel like he's going to go for the heal. So I'm going to go for the Water Jet in case I get like a crit. Yeah, there's the heal. I don't know if I can out-damage his healing. I can keep him low, though. Let me bring in Arphis. Zoomies can do a lot of damage to Cobbleshell. And it'll do a little bit extra damage because of lightning. If I get some crits, actually I might kill him before he gets off that third heal. Go, Arphis, you got this. Oh, I almost killed him, but my last Zoomies missed. He actually would have died. That was so close. But his heal's on cooldown now, so... Okay. Don't like this matchup. But I might go for a Ice Tomb. Mudslide will kill me. Now I'll save Arphis for later. He's pretty good versus that Cobbleshell. We'll go for a build turret. Probably goes for a headbutt. Hopefully I don't get stunned. Maybe he has Whirlpool. I would assume he has headbutt. I'm not sure why I didn't go for it. So if I swap in my Snapdragon, he's gonna be rooted, which I'm not a huge fan of. Maybe it's better for me to sacrifice Mr. Delver so that I get a free swap into my Snapdragon. Well, I'm not excited about getting stunned there. I think that is my best bet. Mr. Delver is not great versus this whole team because he can't really kill Cobbleshell, I don't think, and he's slower than the two 325 speed pets. So let's go for Call Lightning. To buff my turret damage for next round. Doesn't really matter this turn because he's just going to die regardless, but... He's probably going to go for that heal, so I'm just going to try to keep him low with water jets. Can't swap. If I could, I'd probably bring in Arfus and try to take him out with Zoomies, but I can still keep him low. I think he's on his third round of Stone Form, right? I wasn't paying attention. I should have focused. I'm assuming he still has one more round of the heal. Yeah, he does. And he's almost full HP. Kind of want to save my Snapdragon for later. Let me go for a dive. I wonder if he's going to go for a repair. I mean, he shouldn't, but... Let's see here. Well, this'll kill him through extra plating. I don't know about that swap. I think he should have just stayed it on Cobble Shell and then tried to clean up with the nut varmint. I think that was a misplay. I'm just going to stay in. It's very close. So I could easily throw if I swap and basically effectively pass a turn. I think it's in my best interest. Okay, I don't know about that. That was irrelevant. Maybe he was predicting I would swap. So yeah, right there. If I had swapped into Arfus, I would have almost died. A crit easily could have killed me. But I think we win by like one turn. It shouldn't have been so close, but that headbutt stun put me like 2 turns behind where I should have been. So we barely won. If he had the blue quality snail and he got the stun, I think he probably would have won. I'm going to /reload because there's an annoying bug where if I fight a green quality pet, it'll like show a green border around the enemy pets on the next game, and it doesn't really do anything, but it's annoying. Makes it hard for me to focus, so if I'm getting Cobble Shell, I think maybe Itch Bite's a good option. Maybe this team. It's very similar to the team I played earlier, but I don't think it'll beat the Anomalous player. Maybe. Maybe it actually could do a little better, because Mr. Delver is pretty good versus Anomalous. What other teams do I have with Itch Bite? I have this team. It's actually 0-3, which I think is surprising. Maybe it's not as good as because I thought it looks really good. Maybe it just depends on what I'm queuing into. It's either that or Mr. Delver, or I could just not play Itch Bite, I guess. What else could I do that might be decent versus Cobble Shell? Because even though he's the green pet, I think he's the scariest one on the team. I need either strong beast damage or some sort of one-shot. I was looking at this team. Fell-Afflicted Skyfin, really bad versus Cobble Shell. But Snarly can probably take him out. I'm going to play this team because I think it'll do really good if I get that Anomalous Stunted Direhorn team. And if I get a rematch, I think it can win. Another option for dealing with Cobbleshell is Roggy, running Crystal Overload. Because that will almost one-shot him with Sandstorm. Like, for example, I think this team would easily beat him. I'm just hesitant to play it because besides Cobbleshell, the rest of his team isn't super tryhard. So playing double Sandstorm into him is kind of an asshole move. This team would probably be a good option versus him. Because I have the one-shot with Crystal Overload and Sandstorm. It's going to be great versus Cobbleshell. Darkness can nerf the healing. And then the Cobalt Ram is going to be faster than both of his 325 speed pets. Okay, so I've seen this team a couple times. He usually starts with the Hoffer, I think, if I remember right. So, if I swap him, it will bring in Murgleton, huh? Okay, this is fine. I thought he would start with the aquatic. I wanted to throw down Minefield. Before I went for the swap. Don't have a beast to eat the Call Darkness with, so I'll just go for Alert here. He's not pressing it. Interesting. I think it actually does take my Flying Racial. Let's just go for alerts for now. I don't really care about being faster than him until it's he's about to die. 298 plus 298. Well, at this point, it's probably worth going for Overtune. Because if he high rolls on my mechanical racial, he'll go first, and I won't get any damage into him. Yeah, and he got the high roll, so going for Overtune was the correct play. It's pretty crucial that I don't miss here. Because I'm going to take 731 damage if I do. But there isn't a whole lot I can do. But neither of my pets are elementals, so I just have to say my prayers to RNGesus. And it'd be really nice if this minefield doesn't miss too, but the more important thing was that he didn't get that soul rush off. So I could just go for Wing Buffet. And then no, I'll just go for Felt Immolate. It's fine. I was going to say I could go for Wing Buffet, and then a Surge will kill him later, but I think what I would prefer is, yeah, this is good, because I can interrupt him now. I didn't want him to be able to maybe swap in his low health flyer to eat up Blood in the Water, and now that's not an option for him, so... unless he, like, lands every single Frog Kiss, pretty sure this should be pretty straightforward downhill from here. Kind of a random pet here. I'm not sure what he's going for. Maybe he's trying to, like, run this pet to counter Blossoming Ancients. The whole team is a little bit random to me. I'm not sure quite what he's going for. But he really needed that that Frog Kiss to proc And I still have my flying racial. That's very good. At this point, I think I could just spam surges and win. And I intend to, because I don't want it to get interrupted with polymorph. Alright, and he dies to the dots. Alright, so the main pet that I'm worried about on that team is Murgleton, so I probably want like a 341 speed beast of some sort, so I could probably run any of these three teams and do fine. Would this team be able to beat him? I don't think it would do great. This team doesn't do very well versus magic pets. So far it's 0-3 versus 3 teams with magic pets. It's not good versus Murgleton for sure. I'm thinking maybe I try the Cobalt Ram. I feel like these will be better. I guess I did play with Roggy earlier. I'll try some of these teams later. I'm gonna pick a different team, I think. Play with Sub and Arthas. So the Cobra's good versus versus Murgleton. Zoom's a decent cleanup pet, actually. He's a little bit memey, but he has a large health pool, so... I could see him actually being pretty effective versus that flyer. Since he has, like, Bone Barrage, I can Shell Shield that. Arthas is not fantastic versus his team, because his... Well, he doesn't have a way to deal with, He doesn't have a way to deal with, Ice Tomb, but my basic attack is weak to the aquatic, and then my zoomies is weak to the flyer. I feel like this would be kind of a close matchup if I got a rematch. I have lots of teams specifically for fighting Shady Murgleton, but it's not this player. It's a different player that spams Murgleton. So if I picked one of these, it would probably do well. Maybe one that isn't this purple puffer, because I don't think that's a great option, but all four of these would probably easily win versus that team. Because they all have beasts that are faster than Murgleton, which is the best way to counter him. That I can think of. There might be something I haven't thought of. Oh, well, okay, the Timeless Mechanical Dragonling's really good versus Murgleton, but it's a little bit more dependent on RG, because if you're playing a beast that's faster, you're going to go before his Soul Rush, and so if you get stunned, it's not as detrimental. Whereas if he lands a Soul Rush stun on your Timeless Mechanical Dragonling, he gets 3 attacks off before you've gotten to dot him up or even press decoy, and you've lost your mechanical racial, and you see 125% just kind of won him the game instantly. This team's a little random. This pet's fast, but it doesn't hit very hard. And he takes strong damage from Sandstorm. So I think I'll start with the Cobra. I started with a Chimerling. Well, I take weak damage from Darkness, so this is still fine. This was a good pick unless he starts with the Mechanical. I think it's worth it to go for Sandstorm. It could always... make his darkness miss. We both do weak damage to each other. Don't really want to give him a dragon racial, so I think I will save my Cobra for later. Actually, my Cobra is pretty bad versus these two pets. It's alright versus the Bog Hopper. I'll save him for later. And he does weak damage with his dragon versus Arphis. Zoomies doesn't really care about darkness RNG. It makes the first hit miss a lot more often, but then the second, third, fourth, and fifth hit still have a flat 85% hit chance, even though the tooltip says 75, which is nice. He doesn't have a way to... That miss is huge, because he would have a Dragon Racial now. He doesn't have a way to miss... to avoid Ice Tomb, but... I don't want to use it while Darkness is out, because that's the one thing that could screw me over. Am I faster than the Bog Hopper yet? I am not. I think I'll stay in. Oh, I missed. It would have been better for me to swap. I didn't know I was going to miss. Dang it. Well. Let's go for Ice Tomb. At this point, I've committed to stay in on Arphis until he dies. I'm going to go for Zoomies. And now I'm faster than a Bog Hopper, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to die to Sticky Grenade, inevitably. He should probably eat that Ice Tomb with his Aquatic, because it's strong damage versus his Mechanical, and my basic attack is weak versus Aquatics. I think he was considering doing that. He should have done it. He's pretty far behind now. But it also really helped me that he missed like a crucial tail sweep under his own weather. I have to bring in Zoom to eat the minefield. That's not going to work out for me if I bring in my Cobra. So I can kill him with Super Sticky Goo. Or go for charges. The charge might crit. I think it's just better to go for the Super Sticky Goo and guarantee I kill him. Well, now he's rooted, so if I want, I can guarantee land Sandstorm on him. I can't be polymorphed, so maybe it's in my best interest to just stay in and 1v1 him. I'm just going to spam Super Sticky Goo. Oh, I was thinking he might have Pump. If he had Pump, I didn't want to use Shell Shield. It might be worth going for Shell Shield then. Yeah, I think it is. I still have enough health where I think it's worth it. It'll mitigate probably at least a turn. And then he's in a rough spot now because as long as I'm spamming Sticky Goo, he can't swap into his Rocket Bot. He just has to 1v1 me. So I'll just keep doing that. Shell Shield doesn't do anything versus Toxic Skin, unfortunately, but... Alright, I think I'll go for a Sticky Goo. He crit me, but... charge... Oh, it almost kills him. Dang it. I should be fine, though, because I'm faster than the Rocket Bot. So I can just go for a bite. Even if he crits me here, I'll be able to kill the Rocket Bot, no problem. Got my Beast Racial, so bite will kill him. feel like Stone Grinder or something that can deal with Minefield would be a good option. Stone Grinder. I don't know about that team. This team's fun. I think this team would be a good matchup because this tiny snowman's really good versus his mechanical. I guess Stone Grinder is too, and he doesn't have a humanoid. The Alpine Foxling's going to do good versus the dragon because I take weak damage from darkness. And then I can outspeed his fast frog with Dazzling Dance. So this will be LG if I win. I'll play for one more win and then call it for now. We got a living sandling. Uh-oh. He probably has 2 pets with Sandstorm. I might be boned. Maybe he'll misplay. I'll start with the Alpine Foxling in case he starts with Murgleton. He started with a... Yeah, this is going to be pretty much impossible to win. I'll go for Crouch. Oh, he has Lightning. Okay. Good thing I crouched. Maybe he'll stay in. He should swap. Okay, I'm gonna go for another flurry. If he had Sandstorm on both of these pets, I have no possibility of beating him with this team. Even though he has Lightning, I think I might still be screwed. Alright, do I think he's gonna stay in, or do I think he's gonna swap to Murgleton? I'm gonna risk it and go for the flurry, and it's paying off. I do need Dazzling Dance at some point, though, so I think now is the time to press it. Otherwise, my team has no chance versus him. Realistically, my whole team is kind of hard countered by the Living Sandling, but my only hope of beating him is Dazzling Dance, for sure. If I can land like a RNG Deep Freeze stun, maybe I can win. There's no way for me to guarantee. Okay. There's no way for me to guarantee the stun with this build because he's an elemental, so it's in my best interest to just go for the YOLO. We got a crit, which is helpful. And so did he. Sandstorm does not kill me, though, so I could change the weather on him. Call Blizzard. I didn't want to go for Call Blizzard instantly because it buffs his attacks. Lots of crits. I don't know what's going on. 3 crits in a row. So I'm slower because of Quicksand, so we just have to hope that Stone Grinder can win this 1v1. As long as he doesn't stun me, and I don't miss under Darkness. I think I can win this. Thunderbolt does extra damage under Blizzard, but it doesn't matter because of his racial, so I think my best bet is go for Woodchipper to get the bleed rolling ASAP. And he stunned me. Alright. Well. I still win as long as I don't miss. If I miss one attack, I just lose. Unless he misses 2. Let's go for Thunderbolt. Oh, he missed. Go for cleanup. Low roll kills him, I just have to not miss. Alright. Close game. Solid one to end it on. Not a very fun team to fight. But I guess I could theory craft a counter team. So he has Murgleton. Means if I go here, I look up SSMJ, which is Sir Shady Murgleton Jr., we can see a lot of teams that do well versus Murgleton when paired with Twilight and the Blossoming Ancient. So the Pale Shell Crab is probably decent versus him because it has aquatic damage and he has no way to deal with Bubble. But the problem is Sandstorm like almost one-shots aquatics. How fast is that Echo? It's 297. Okay. So this team could probably at least have a chance to beat him because my Pale Shell Crab is faster than his Echo of the Heights. He started with the Echo and he has Lightning. So I would probably, if I had a rematch and I had this team, I would probably want to start with... Realistically, it's in my best interest to start with the MPD. Because if he starts with the Murgleton, I want to take weak damage from Soul Rush, and I have strong damage with Breath, and I have weak damage with Pinch. So I'd probably start with the MPD. If he plays the same way as before, I would start with the MPD, hopefully decoy a Call Lightning, and then I can bring in Jingles. Probably gift first so that it comes back off cooldown. Go for Booby Trap Presence. And then probably swap to the Pale Shell Crab to take out this Elemental. So then he's going to obviously eat the Minefield with the Elemental. Maybe my Pale Shell Crab can take out the Elemental, maybe not. I mean, if he plays well, probably not. I think this team maybe has one of the better chances of these teams. This team also, maybe. The Rose Typin's not great versus the Living Sandling. I think MPD is slightly better. They're both not great, because I take strong damage on the MPD. My favorite counter team versus Murgleton teams would probably do fine. But I feel like I could come up with a slightly better team than this for fighting that. I've never seen this particular comp, but yeah, Living Sandling plus Murgleton is annoying. Because if I have aquatic damage, I'm going to be weak to Murgleton. If I don't have strong damage versus the Living Sandling. I'm not really sure what the best pet versus Living Sandling would be. It's just a very difficult pet to counter because if you're taking weak damage from Sandstorm, you're a dragon, which means he does strong damage with Punch. If you're dealing strong damage to him, you're probably an aquatic pet, which means you just get one-shot by Sandstorm. If you're depending on going faster, he has Quicksand, which is like the best slow in the game, arguably. It's just arbitrarily better than Squeeze because it's a field effect, so even if you swap, you're still going to be slower. Because 50% is a huge slow. I mean, 90% of why he's so OP is the fact that Sandstorm does like 50% more damage than it should if it was balanced correctly. You could argue it does like 100% more damage than it should in a balanced meta. So that's a big reason why he's so hard to counter. Pale Shell Crab isn't bad, but he does get just completely two-shot by Quicksand and Sandstorm. And that combo, even if it doesn't do strong damage, is like almost 1200 damage in 2 turns. Combined with the fact that Quicksand's slow, so you're going to be able to get that Sandstorm. off after you land quicksand. Unless they have, like, deflection or something. I guess the autumnal sproutling and trembler aren't a terrible option. Gleamhoof fawn also, all for the same reason, is you can throw up Nature's Ward and kind of tank the two-shot fairly effectively, but it doesn't exactly put you ahead because of how overtuned Sandstorm is. Um, it just kind of keeps you in the game. Yeah, he's just a really solid pet. Easily a top 10 pet for PvP. Arguably the best Sandstorm pet. I think Karaji's on paper better, but Karaji's a little bit easier to just like counter, I think. Whereas with the Living Sandling, I really have a hard time. Um, and also he has the cherry on top is the fact that he has the elemental racial, so you can't even like get bailed out with a 10% miss. He's going to land his attacks. And because he's an elemental, if you're trying to like counter him with a darkness team, if you have like a nocturnal strike pet, it'll probably miss. He does do weak damage versus critters, so maybe a pet like Roggy with Crystal Overload and Sandstorm. That's kind of a meme build, though. I think Tremblor can kind of 1v1 him because you could soak his Sandstorm with Nature's Ward, throw up your own Sandstorm, throw up a couple Stone Rushes, and then swap to the backline. It's hard to say which pet is more OP. I think I think Tremblor is actually a little bit more OP than the Living Sandling because the ability to passively counter barrage abilities, multi-hit abilities, dot attacks, AoE attacks, anything that isn't a single hard-hitting attack or like a pump or a wind-up type ability or a long cooldown big attack like Darkness or Sandstorm, combined with the fact that, oh, you might just 10% miss, oopsie doodle, and you have Nature's Ward, that these two abilities should be on the same tier. You shouldn't be allowed to pick a pet that has both Nature's Ward and Sandstorm. It's cancerous for the game that this exists. Because it's for the same reason that like the Blossoming Ancient shouldn't have the ability to run photosynthesis in sunlight. You could simply just press Sandstorm and Nature's Ward and swap to the back line and heal up all the damage that you took in those 2 turns, and just rinse and repeat that over and over again, with no counterplay possibly from the enemy team because you have Sandstorm to mitigate AoE attacks. And even if Sandstorm was tuned properly in damage, you should have to pick between Nature's Ward and Sandstorm. They should switch like Nature's Ward and Quicksand so that you can run Quicksand and Sandstorm like the Living Sandling. Like I said, that's a strong combo, but I think it's less cancerous slightly than Nature's Ward. But yeah, the bottom line is Sandstorm needs to get not just Sandstorm, Darkness, and in my opinion, Sunlight should all be nerfed. I mean, you could say the same thing for Call Lightning, but I feel like for sure the most cancerous abilities are Sandstorm, Sunlight, and Darkness, in terms of just being overtuned in damage and requiring 0 skill to just passively win games by pressing them on cooldown. So yeah, I'd have to think about how to counter that team. I'm very surprised I won. I think he wins very easily if A, he has Sandstorm on the Echo, or B, he swapped out his Echo and saved him for later, rather than just letting me 1v1 him with my Alpine Foxling. Because I went for that I was very greedy with when I went for Dazzling Dance. I went for it as late as I could have possibly gotten away with going for it. So if he had simply brought in Murgleton and Soul Rushed me, he would have killed me before I ever get my Dazzling Dance off, and GG. Or if he just started with a Living Sandling and just pressed Sandstorm, I would have done no damage with flurries, and I would have been pretty screwed. So, got lucky with that last game. Anyways, enough rambling for me. Gonna take a little break, keep some more later, and I'll see you all in the next video.